In this video, I'll be showing you layer picking in Edit. Working with the layer palette and being able to quickly access the layer you want is critical. First of all, working with the layer palette. You have your layer palette here, and then you have a drop-down list to be able to filter the list to the layers you want to see. So you can view all layers, valid layers, drawn layers, and then sometimes you want to see just the layers that are in use in your current cell, or maybe in use in your current cell and hierarchy, or in use in loaded views. So that is all the cells that have been loaded in the current design. We also have in use in the entire database, but you need to be careful about using that because that will load all cells in the entire database that haven't been loaded, so that can be a performance suck if your cells have not already been loaded. And then if you're doing FinFET, you can also look at layers with colors as well. I won't go over the others for the sake of time in this video. So let's look at drawn layers. You can also filter the layers by name. It does a string search. I can do MET for metal. I can do drawing for just the drawing purpose. And you can do partial strings as well. So like if I do ID, then it will find just ones with ID somewhere in the name. And then whatever layer you click on at the top, it will make that your active layer, and that's the one you'll be drawing on. So if I draw a box, then I will be drawing on metal 1 or a wire. And then some of the tools that have an F3 option, you also have the layer in the F3, so you can change the active layer in that dialog. So if I wanted to change to metal 2 drawing in here, I can do that, and you'll see that that changes the active layer here. But likewise, it syncs with the dialog here, so anything I click on here, it also changes the layer in the dialog as well. Likewise with interactive router, if I use my interactive router, it will use whatever my active layer is. That is a current routing layer. You can see metal 1, but there are features that will use the layer that's under your mouse, like I'm using my pin layer, and then you'll see that as I start routing, it changes my active layer in the layer palette to that layer. If you want to quickly change a layer to something that is in your layout, we have a feature called Draw Pick Layer right here, and you'll see that the bind key is the A key. If I move my mouse over any spot in the layout, if I hit the A bind key, if you look up here, my active layer in the upper left of my layer palette is changing, and it will cycle through every layer that's under my mouse. So I can quickly change my active layer by just moving over the layer I want in my layout, if it exists, and I can pick that layer, and now that's my active layer. So if I'm drawing boxes, I can quickly just go over the layer I want, pick that layer, and then start drawing. If I want layer metal 1, I can just quickly switch to metal 1. If I want to switch back to metal 2, I just go over this, hit the A key, and switch back to metal 2. I don't have to change any dialogues. I don't have to move back over the layer palette. I can quickly switch my active layer just by using the A key. And again, it cycles through all the layers under your mouse when you do that. Another option is to use the filter to say pick at point. So if I want to change my layer palette to all the layers that are under a point and see what layers are under that point, I can click pick at point, and then if I click at the point, it will filter my layer list to all layers that are under that point. So now I can see what layers are in my layout, and I can limit my list to only the layers that are under a certain point in my layout. So those are some of the nice features that can help you work with selecting your active layer in Edit. Thank you.